Right then, welcome back everyone. Today we're talking about Across the Spiderverse, which, spoiler alert, is absolutely phenomenal. Speaking of spoilers though, of course, although I'll avoid any major story spoilers, I am actually going to be talking about the film, if you couldn't have guessed.
What? Nah, I never knew that.
So if you don't want to know anything at all about it, then like the video and come back later. However, if you've got a single smidge of self-respect, you'd have seen the film already, so you'll have nothing to worry about. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit hesitant going into this film, purely because the first film was just so good, and usually sequels to excellent films come out as anything but excellent, and in fact terrible. And so I just wasn't sure if this film could live up to the reputation of its predecessor. But boy oh boy, was I proved wrong. I don't think I could have been more wrong if I tried. Not only did they equal the levels that they reached with Into the Spiderverse, but in my opinion, they surpassed them and then some. Bit of a hot take, I know, but I'll justify myself in this video, so please just hear me out, put the pitchforks away, and I think you'll agree with me by the end of the video. In my opinion, I think the reason it was so successful came down to three main things. Number one, the visuals. Number two, the fan service. And number three, the craftsmanship. I know that all sounds a bit vague at the moment, but I'll explain myself in the video, and by the end of it, I think you'll come around. Right, so this is the final warning for spoilers. I don't want to see one comment saying I spoiled the film for you. If I do,
I'll come out of my house and I'll break your fucking legs, you little prick! Now what do you say? Now what do you fucking say?
and so without further ado, let's get into it. If you've even heard of the Spider-Verse films, you know that the animation and visuals are what set it apart. So many people hear the word animated and immediately turn their nose up, which is just so sad. They just don't know what they're missing. You cannot imagine the amount of hours and the effort it must have taken to draw and render all those scenes and get them to the level of polish that we see. I know that the first film's animation was also incredible, but in my opinion, this film just goes one step further. With the colours and the constantly changing animation style and the frankly obscene amount of unique characters, my heart could barely take it. My favourite design has to be Miguel O'Hara. I've always loved the futuristic 2099 Spider-Man suit designs, like from the Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions game or even the most recent Spider-Man PS4 game. I really hope someone's played that first one. His suit design is just so clean with the talons on his wrist and the way they made his webs look like lasers, it's just fucking sick!
Stop it. Get some help.
I've got to just mention his soundtrack too, and to be honest, the soundtrack in general on the film. Daniel Pemberton, take a bow. You absolutely nailed it. As soon as you hear that Prowler theme, oh my god, you are terrified. It is perfect. Honourable mentions though do have to go to Vulture from the opening scene, Hobie Brown aka Spider-Punk, and the Scarlet Spider. They had some of the most unique animation styles I've ever seen. You really have to feel for colourblind people at this sort of time. I mean, it really must suck to suck. Now there is always danger with these sort of films to have too much going on and over-invest in the visuals at the expense of the viewing experience. However, you won't be at all surprised to hear that I think they nailed it in this film. There is not one wasted second, nor one boring scene. From the slower parts to the all-out action parts, I could not look away. The Spider-Verse films have cemented themselves as the pinnacle of visual excellence, and I hope and pray that the next installment doesn't disappoint. Moving on to fan service, Spider-Man fans have been absolutely spoiled over the last couple of years. I don't think I can remember there being more hype around a film than there was for No Way Home. And to be honest, I still can't really believe that Tobey Maguire and my hero Andrew Garfield were actually in the film. Even in the UK we had people shouting out in the cinema when Andrew took his mask off, which is saying a lot by the way. Someone could literally burst into flames in a UK cinema and no one would say a word. Also, the Insomniac Spider-Man and Miles Morales video games are stupidly good. I almost passed out watching the new gameplay reveal the other week. And so what did this film do? It combined it all.
Boy, ain't no fucking way, boy.
The amount of references and callbacks and sheer amount of detail in this film is crazy. I definitely didn't catch them all, nor do I claim to be the most knowledgeable person about Spider-Man, but the ones I did catch just made the film 10 times better. For me though, the top three had to be Number 1, Miguel referencing the events of No Way Home when he talks about Doctor Strange and Earth 199,999. Number 2, and this is a minor spoiler, so just skip forward 10 seconds if you don't want to see it. Number 2 being the different realizations of the canonical events in a Spider-Man's life, including all the clips from the live action films. And number 3, seeing the Insomniac Spider-Man from the games in the Citadel, and also seeing Genki playing Spider-Man on his PS5. Now here's an extra little nerd fact just for you guys. The eagle-eyed viewers out there actually pointed out that from the brief glimpse you do get of Genki playing PlayStation, you can see it's actually new gameplay of Spider-Man 2, not the original PS4 game. Just knowing that alone warrants a second watch through, let alone the 100 other things that I haven't mentioned. But if you've got something really cool that you think you caught that no one else did, comment it down below. And finally, craftsmanship. Now I know this is a little bit vague, but what I mean by that is that it's actually unbelievable how much they have created with just 2 films. The amount of characters with actual depth to them and a proper character arc, the quality of the voice acting, the genuinely excellent storyline they've crafted. I mean, the list just goes on. I know that without the first film, we wouldn't have this one, but because the first film was so good, the task of creating a sequel becomes exponentially harder. And yet, they've managed to recapture all the best bits of the first film and build on them, which is something you do not see very often. Now I knew going into Across the Spiderverse that there was going to be a third film, and clearly when watching it, you could see that they set out far too much than they could ever hope to conclude in one film. But even so, knowing all of that, when that to be continued came up on the screen, I was fuming. I just didn't want it to end, and to be able to get a reaction like that from fans is a rare thing to achieve. I think the last time I remember feeling that way was when Infinity War ended, and I genuinely believe that these films are on that level, if not better. The release date for Beyond the Spider-Verse is March 29th, 2024, which means there's officially 296 days to go as of when I'm recording this, so the countdown is on. It does remain to be seen how this third film will turn out, but if it's anything like the first 2, I think this will go down as the best Marvel project to date. But if you disagree with that, let me know in the comments down below. And with that, we've reached the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, why don't you check out this other video I made, where I watched every single video game film adaptation.